Welcome back, game number 1 in a brand new best of 3. Spawning in the top left corner of the map, it's gonna be the red Terran player top.
The bottom right, as the green Zerg, it's Tefel.
And Blast being the name. There's a couple of folks who have been sharing around accounts and stuff because they don't have access, and we've seen a couple of them compete, but I do wonder about the folks who actually have their own accounts that are choosing different names. I mean, some of them silly, some of them's kind of like alternate IDs. Either way, there's this kind of interesting bug where you might actually name yourself Tefel, and Tefel is named Tefel, like in a chat channel with him, but it shows up as Blast in game because I guess it's tied to his real ID or his Battle.net account or something.
Yeah, it still confuses me, but whatever.
Hey, big shout out to Mark Crown Stories, by the way, before we get too far into this game. Just subbed for 12 months, so I think that's another one-year trip. Woo! Thanks for coming back, man. Thanks for that long-time support. But yeah, so Tefel could definitely do some abusive things. He's someone who was really adjusting to using Roach Hydra in pretty much all matchups in Heart of the Swarm. I don't know if that's going to carry over here for Legacy or not, but I do hope that he's... I mentioned this while you were gone getting your food. Tefel's always had a bit of a problem in the early game. You know, you give Tefel the late game, and he can go toe-to-toe with most, but you know, he's the first guy who's going to fall to Hellion run by. He's the first person who's going to die to, like, a Cyclone aggression or something silly.
Well, that is kind of silly because Zerg was really given, I think, the most powerful option to open up aggressively with. You know, these Roach openers lead into pretty good macro games. The Ravager rushes can be pretty strong. It just, you know, it would be weird, but it seems like that's actually what he's doing. He's opening up like Heart of the Swarm. So yes, a couple of Cyclones, a couple of Hellions can still do the same damage he did in the last expansion.
Thank you to Emma, by the way, for 4-month resub as well. Not to miss that one. I've missed a couple of subs today, and I feel a little bit bad about that. But they're all resubs, and we love you guys. And I'm sorry I didn't catch every single one. But I guess we, for top, I am curious what he's going to do. We have, again, going back in the hole, we haven't seen him for a while, blah, blah, blah. Does he really know that that's Tefel's weakness? Does he know that if he wants a quick win, you just go aggressive?
Probably not.
Yeah, I was going to say probably not. It's one of his first tournament games, at least back in a long time, and we'll see where it leads. Tefel, though, I really want to see him get lurkers. I mean, again, this is somebody who plays so Roach Hydra already, so Roach Hydra heavy, that if he could go for something like lurkers, like Ravagers, and just show us the potential of both, I think it'd be so cool. Yeah.
It's so awkward because they are still kind of expensive. You know, you got to get the Hydras, Hydra's Den, Hydra, Lurker Den, and then the Lurkers. Like it's pretty long, first of all, pretty dedicated to remember, and then actually using them can be quite difficult, at least for, you know, actual parts of your army. If they were to you know, be only for harass, that would still be cool and effective for sure. I mean, they're tough to deal with because you always got to bring detection with you. But that's a big expense for just harass or just defense, and
well, yeah. I think for me, the way I look at it more so is, and there's been some discussion about whether it's good or bad, and some folks are saying both for units changing into other units. But I feel like the same way the Zergling is bad against most units, after a point, the Baneling helps bridge that gap when you transform it for some Marines. Same with the Roach. Like, okay, you're stuck with 200 supply of Roach Hydra, and it's the late game. Do you just give away all this garbage supply and hope you've got the economy behind it, or can you transform it into something cooler and better, like the Lurker, like the Ravager? So, I mean, it's just, for me, I look at it and it's like there's another transition. And I think that's really cool. But
the transition isn't that powerful. That's the problem. Is that
right,
Roach...
it's not like going from Roach to Ultralisk, per se, but I'm just saying it's better than being stuck with nothing.
I guess, but Ravager Lurker is pretty hard to control. Something you have not only controlling the army, but also two new buttons to push, basically. You know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but wait until you actually play it, and then one of them has to burrow. So.
Or if you're playing with a teammate who doesn't want you spending money, 2 buttons not to push.
Well, these tank drops, as I said, can be dealt with kind of well with Queens. I mean, one pushes it away. If you can just get a couple other one or two up here, you'd be able to push away even further.
Yeah, I like the Spire coming in, but I also like that he pulled a couple drones there. He's trying to make sure the Queen wasn't going to be the first thing targeted, but Lynx will get one shot popped off, so he's going to have to keep dancing around this for quite a bit.
That was nice. I mean, that was the same way that you would deal with like a Widowmine drop, basically, but with a tank, you know, sending 2 Lynx forward, so the first shot goes on them, not on the... See? Majority of the tanks.
I mean, it's still it's minimizing damage. You know, you can't stop this from like you cannot totally stop this from causing damage, but it's making sure that it does as little as possible while you get to the point where you're supposed to be able to deal with it. That's kind of the case here for Tefel. Queen might go down to this one. The Lings start to go for a run by. I thought they were just trying to get to the low ground, but
She got the best.
literally in his face.
Oh. It's certainly annoying, but it is light harassment, and I'd say the defense has more micro, but the attack has more to lose if it does mess up. So actually, if it's like this, then this is actually kind of a cool opener for Legacy of the Void, and kind of fun too. But the Spire's now out, so top has to get out. It is going to be Ling Bling Muta. So we just talked about how, you know, Tefel Roach Hydra guy probably gonna do it, you know, add in some Routers, hopefully Lurkers. No, just gonna go into what we expect from everyone else.
I look at this as more as a sort of mid-game, not really a blitz, but more like time buyer though with the Lings and the Banelings. Like I don't know how heavy he'll go into this, but I can't help but think he's discovered the god mode Lings that are late game Hive tech, and if that's where he goes with it, I think that'd be pretty cool.
There's no way that pops. No, there's no Banelings here, but this is surprisingly scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, still the double picks off on the siege tanks, kills the brains, he evens up that resources lost, and the fact that top's on a third is not really that scary because Tefel is in fact coming up on a fourth.
Yeah. I mean, Roach Hydra can certainly still be played out well, and can still technically get into ultras, although the upgrade won't be there as quickly, of course.
Just
but
trapped.
Roach Baneling, if you can survive long enough to get those ultras, it's too good not to get up to.
Yeah, the Marauders suffered a very significant nerf too, so the late game really just has much more potential than ever. Again, with this faster infestation pit, I can't think that this is going to be for Swarmhost if he can get out that Hive tag.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, he's already doing such a great job, like, killing Top's aggressive maneuvers here. Like, you know, if he hadn't been taking out, like 15, 20 Marines now, like one at a time, then that'd be a really scary push to, you know, to come across the map right now, starting to clear up that creep. Instead, Top still quite afraid, still only back here with one tank, you know, not a whole lot of splash.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing for Tefel too is, okay, Zerglings are really good and Ultras are better and all this, but the fact that he's insisting on staying up with Lings, Banelings, pardon me, not only does this look normal, it's actually effective. So Top is not exactly expecting a fast Hive. I mean, that's not in the meta of StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm at all. Why would it be for Legacy of the Void? But he's also perhaps not ready for the amount of Banelings Tefel may have. If he just thinks, oh, my opponent's still playing Heart of the Swarm styles, but, you know, psych, it's fast Ultras.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fast Ultras at one point was a Heart of the Swarm style.
So to explain out. Okay, yeah, I remember back to like Nurchio and Joxy games like Frost and stuff like that, right? Engagement looks like it's ready to go down the middle of the map. Banelings aren't quite ready with speed though, so this could be a bit of a waste. Tefel leaves him away. But okay, real quick, guys. Ultras have more armor based off their Carapace upgrade, and Marauders were nerfed. We mentioned this before briefly, but to explain a little bit further, Marauders shoot 2 shots now instead of 1. Same damage, just split twice. So because of this, the armor is actually twice as effective. The question is, what does he do for the late game? And that's where Cyclones, I think, start really coming into effect. You know, the fact that their greatest ability, the log on, is good for cutting Ultras is one thing, but it's another that it's not really affected by upgrades. It's a spell cast, so it's all relative to it, no matter what the Ultras have for armor.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you are going into a tank style, then just continuing with tanks and adding in some Marauders is still probably a fairly effective way to deal with Ultras. But right now we have a problem where Top doesn't have a very strong mid-game tank style, and of course won't have a very strong late-game tank style either. When you do go tanks, you still need to go a lot of tanks. It's the same problem that we see when people try and do it in Heart of the Swarm. They get like 1 or 2 kind of tanks, and they're really not helpful. And you know, people then say, well, you need Widow Mines, like tanks aren't worth it anymore. Well, kind of.
It also doesn't help the fact that the game is so very, very not figured out by most. Yeah, at best, it's scrappy play.
But Bomber, I'm telling you, like he was the one that was actually letting tanks look still kind of good in Heart of the Swarm. Although it's kind of died off recently, you know, after Red Bull, it kind of sucks. But I'd say that if he went to Legacy of the Void and he was the one playing, not Top, he would have the appropriate amount of tanks, and he'd be pushing across the map, abusing these ledges on this map too.
Resumed paused.
Tefel. Oh, I guess get some lag. Am I seeing spikes? No, there's actually no spikes for once. It's I don't know. I'll check. I was gonna tell him it could just be the beta servers.
Yeah.
I know that I queued for ladder the other night, and I got some guy from Germany on the other end, and I had like 11 network spikes per minute, and I'm like, I'm not playing this. I just left the game. I'm like, I'm not wasting my time with this. So they might be getting that. Again, the beta server is, we got Tefel, Europe, Top, Korea, but there's no actual dedicated server or anything like this, guys. Anyways, Adrenal Glands finishing up in a second, and what's kind of crazy about this is even though the Lings only have +2 upgrades, Adrenal Glands has a 40% attack speed increase now. I can't even begin to stress how good these have been at tearing down buildings. If you can get a run-by off, hell, the Lings could probably even contend with Marines now. Not as good as Banelings, of course, but it makes them more viable than just cannon fodder.
Yeah. So I think there's been a couple opportunities where Tefel could have overwhelmed Top, before he was making 2 tanks at a time, for instance, but he never really wanted to take that chance, and there really wasn't any reason to. I think the entire goal of this game has been getting up to Cracklings and Ultras, and that's where he is now, so now might be the time where he starts attacking.
He scans this though, he sees this coming. Top's gotta be pretty careful. Not a single bit Widowmine in sight, just siege tanks, and I mean, it does kind of fill the gap. The problem was the siege tanks were never better than Widowmines because they couldn't move the siege tanks. Second Lings on top of them, they're dead. But now we got those medevacs in play. Now things change around. Ultralisks revealed as well. I do like that he's gone with the Cyclone upgrades too, the Cyber, whatever, optics. So right now he doesn't have a lot of Cyclones on the field, but he knows he's going to need them for the Ultras.
He's starting that Cyclone production, but there's going to be a faster Ultra production than Cyclone most of the time. Tefel is a little starved on money. He did get to a 5th base though, so it's consistent mining at the very least.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. This is probably the best game of like Zero so far. The way it's been ramping up, but it might come to a lackluster finish if Top can't find a way to stop this. Cyclones are on the way. 3-3's not done yet. He's running with those Marines. He's been taking really cost-effective engagements up to this point, but those Ultras, oh man, they've got that Carapace upgrade. They've got that chitinous plating. They've got 7 friggin' armor right now.
Yeah, that chase wasn't so great though. The Lings just went into a slaughterhouse, direct line into a group of Marines. They're very good.
Marines will literally do 1 damage to the Ultras.
Well, yes, the Ultras can go in a straight line, but Tefel not really up to 7 Ultras quite yet. Again, never really had a humongous bank, despite how kind of passive the mid-game's been going. Muta's doing good damage. It's where I guess most of his money's been going into. It is reduced from like the 30 count that he had, though, down to 20 now. 19.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's been bleeding a couple of these out. Not anything too crazy, but Cyclone locked on a couple Marines. I mean, Tefel, I kind of feels almost safe to give these away because he is transitioning into more Ultras, more Bailey's, more Zerglings. I mean, it's not been easy for Top to clean up, but can he save his +3?
Did he mean to rebuild another spawning? Oh, I guess he did. Like 1 Marine took up the spawning pool while he was building like 10 Lings. It's kind of funny.
Didn't even realize. Was so focused on those mutas. I guess Tefel was too.
Yeah. Well, he certainly does need Lings and Queens too if he wants to transfuse the Ultras, but the production I'd say right now is mostly about the Ultras.
Yeah. Problem is, though, they are pretty expensive, and despite having half the map under his control, Tefel can't quite afford to just build 19. But oh, that's gonna be a big supply drop for poor Top.
Yeah. It's surprising though. I mean, like Top's on 4 bases. He has a 5th command center. It is just Marine tank with the Cyclones are starting to trickle in and some Marauders here and there. But really, like for how Tefel has been controlling this map, this game, I would have thought that he had a much bigger bank. He simply doesn't. So this is still technically anyone's game, but we'll see what the Ultras can really do once they get in the heart of those Marines.
No. He ran right past those rocks. He had to have seen them just recently get knocked down too. He'll kill most of the mutas. Folks fighting with the Marines, but it's going to cost him so much from the Ultras. Now Cyclones should be able to get another kill on this one Ultra stuck here at the top of the ramp. And Top takes a not bad fight, but oh my god, he gave away so much supply to do it.
I mean, I'd say Tefel gave away a lot of supply too, though. These fights are going always a lot better than I expect.
I feel for Tefel, though, it's more about the fact that he's losing these bigger units. Like, Top's giving away a lot of Marines for an Ultralisk, you know? It's not exactly an equal trade. Let's drop. And the other thing, too, is he did dive in there for the mutas. Tefel did have pretty good sky control up to this point. I mean, you mentioned before, he's not quite on 30. He's actually closer to 5 now after losing 37.
Yeah, wow.
So, I mean, I can't say for certain that that was necessarily so much better for Tefel. I mean, he walked out of it alive with a lot of units, but I think Top took out some of the very important key targets.
Yeah. I actually would say this is going better for Top right now as he secures a 5th base. Never really expected this to happen with how quickly Tefel was allowed to get up to these ultras, but I mean, this composition that Top has is so far doing really well.
You know, the auto-targeting is kind of messing up too. He's burning a lot of the Cyclone attacks on the Lings as he kites backwards. Can he deal with the ultras? They've got those full upgrades now. Can he soak those hits? He's actually
there we
missing
go.
Carapace. Yeah, the way he's
This is what the fight I've been expected. Like, this is what I was expecting when fights went down. The Cyclones, well, they tank a little bit. The Marines, oh my god. Sliced.
Oh no, did you just have a heart attack? I just had a heart attack. Those poor Marines. Job at the bottom left, though, has been constantly causing pain and suffering for Tefel. Wonderful shots going off in that tank, kills a lot of drones, gets the actual hatchery. I mean, there's still 2 more on the other sides, but still, Tefel feeling the burn from that drop.
But finally, those supplies look like what I was thinking when I imagined Ultras, you know, being as good as they are. Top, who had been kind of either 10 below or actually not below at all on a supply count, now down by 30. You know, it's cool that the drops are doing damage, but I don't see any other... I'm trying to look really hard at the minimap, see other drops. No. They're not on the way.
They just kind of like the attack warnings go off, and I'm like, yeah, guys, I totally knew there was a drop the whole time.
Yeah, whoa. I guess the other big thing is that Top has not been on +3 upgrades, so that's
the
kind of
Top's not on +3, but at the same time, I don't know if Tefel forgot this or on purpose, but he never got that +3 Carapace either.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Ultra's still on 7 armor. It's a lot of armor, but it's the fact that it's not 8.
Yeah. I think the problem with Cyclones only, as he has just stopped producing tanks, is that, well, first, they're going to target onto these really useless Lings. You don't control them correctly. And second, even if you do target onto the Ultras, the splash isn't there to deal with the Banelings. Alright, and the Banelings are sometimes the scariest part of an Ultra Infestor Ling composition, because the Banelings are the ones that, well, they're so pretty potent.
Such an important drop. It's going to get picked up. I just think of the Baneling Nest, which is kind of nice. We see Top, by the way, go for +3 weapon upgrades. I just think this is hilarious because the Cyclones are really not going to be utilizing their auto attacks, if anything. This is only going to benefit the tanks. I mean, the Cyclone auto attack does hit pretty hard. 22, 23 a shot. That's not bad, but it's the abilities that, you know, you don't auto attack while you're casting lock on. And that lock on ability, oh man, that's where the damage lies. 660 damage over 14 seconds.
I really don't think Cyclone only is from the factory is the way to go, but we'll see. Maybe he'll just simply outproduce Marines to Banelings and Lings, but it just doesn't seem like it's possible with Zerg, right?
Yo, I just realized, I was totally unaware. Does the Cyclone, does that get bonus damage on its lock-on from the actual upgrades from the +2? Because I'm pretty sure that was 640 before, not 660. Unless I'm crazy, or 540 before, rather. We'll find out in a second when it gets to completing. We're going to do science on this one, guys. Choke here for the Ultra. It's going to be kind of scary to move down, but once he does break through this, Top's going to be in some trouble.
There's just, I mean, again, the Cyclones aren't locking on necessarily to the Ultras. There's nothing to deal with the Banelings and the amount of Lings. Like, there's this...
Yeah, Widowmines, please, where are you?
Yeah, but you have to have some type of splash. I mean, that's still... Cyclones are good, but it's, you know, Legacy of the Void, so you still need splash against Zerg.
By the way, this is going to be really cool to me if the Spellcast ability gets the upgrade benefit from just upgrades. I think it'll be like the first thing in the game that's ever had that happen, no? I don't think there's another skill that I can think of, at least, that gets up benefits. Okay, with 660 became 720, yeah. So the actual weapon upgrade actually does affect it.
But if it's a spell, I mean, that's breaking the laws.
Maybe
that might be a bug.
Where... I'm thinking it's one of two things, right? Either it's not meant to be a spell attack, and it's just physical damage, so like it would be reduced by armor, but it's clearly not at the moment. And the upgrade just makes it so it attacks a certain amount of attacks through the lock-on ability. So it's like, it just forces the attack to work differently. But it definitely goes through armor because of how well it deals with Ultra. So I don't know, guys. This is something we're going to have to learn and perhaps beta test. Oh, hey, wait a minute. That's not like what it is.
Oh, wait.
But that's definitely an upgrade.
He's got the spawning pool and he got the Baneling Nest, but that army of Tefel, well, where did it go? I guess it's now just in Ultras, but he's suddenly down in army supply.
You know what I just realized? We need to get Jack Attack. Jack Attack's like the man when it comes to like these number crunching things. So I'll have to tweet at Jack later and see if he knows what's up with Cyclone.
Teffel's in trouble. He's lost. They're both basically like lost all of their mining bases, but these ultras without support, they're still dumb, even if they're very armored.
Man, I really thought Tefel had that game at 3 different spots though, distinctly, and I'm thinking on like every big engagement. But those kites, they were good.
From the way that